Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. This is Yermiyah, YOSHSHAALIA Benyahrael, and this is Real Talk. And I'm just reading out the War Scrolls, the War of the Sons of Light against the Sons of Darkness, War Scrolls. Okay, I want you to understand something. These are instructions for those of us who will be leaving and going into the wilderness. Not the wilderness outside of Jerusalem, but the wilderness before we get to the wilderness of Jerusalem. So I'm just going to read just a little bit out of here. I'm going to column, let's see, I'm going to column, I believe it's column 10. They got a lot to do. Okay, I'm gonna read the prayer of the chief priest, and this is part of the War Scrolls. It said, "Who is like you, O Almighty of Yermiyah, in heaven and on earth, that He can perform in accordance with your great works and your great strength? Who is like your people, Israel, whom you have chosen for yourself from all the people of the lands, the people of the saints of the covenant, learned in the statutes, enlightened in the understanding, those who hear the glorious voice and see the set-apart angels, whose ears are open, hearing deep things. O Almighty, you have created the expanse of the sky, the host of luminaries, the task of spirits and the dominion of set-apart ones, the treasures of your glory, clouds, He who created the earth and the limits of her divisions into wilderness and plain and all her offsprings, with the fruit, the cycle of the seas, the source of the rivers and the rifts of the deeps, wild beasts and winged creatures, the form of man and the generations of his seed, the confusion of language and the separation of people, the abode of clans, and the inheritance of land, and set apart festivals, course of years, and times of eternity. These we know from your understanding, which blank your ears to our cry for blank his house, blank. That's because they are missing in the scrolls. These are parts that are broken off that they didn't try to fill in. Column 11. Truly the battle is yours, and by the strength of your hand their corpse has been broken to pieces, without anyone to bury them. Indeed, Goliath, the Gittite, a mighty man of valor, you delivered into the hand of David, your servant, because he trusted in your great name and not in sword or spear. For the battle is yours. He subdued the Philistines many times by your set-apart name. Also by the hand of your king you rescued us many times, because of your mercy, not according to our works, for we have acted wickedly, nor for the acts of your rebelliousness, nor for the acts of our rebelliousness. The battle is yours. The strength is from you. It is not our own, neither our power, nor the strength of our hand have done violently, but rather by your power and the strength of your great valor, just as you told us in time past, saying, there shall come forth a star out of Jacob, a scepter shall right out of Israel, and shall crush the forehead of Moab and tear down all sons of Seth. And he shall descend of Jacob, and shall destroy the remnant from the city, and the enemy shall be a possession, and Israel shall do violently, not violently as in violence, but like valor, I'm trying to pronounce it correctly, is violently, and that's out of the book of Numbers 24, 17 through 19. By the hand of your anointed ones, seers of things appointed, you have told us about the times of the wars of your hand, in order that you may glorify yourself, fighting among our enemies, to bring down the hordes of Baal, the seven. Vainglorious nations at the hand of at the hand of the oppressed, whom you have redeemed with power and retribution, a wondrous strength, a heart that melts shall be as a door of hope. You will do to them as you did to Pharaoh. So we know this is future. And the officers of his chariots in the Red Sea, you will ignite the humble of spirit like a fiery torch, a fire in a sheaf, consuming the wicked. You shall not turn back until the annihilation of the guilty. In time past, you foretold the appointed times for your hands' powerful works against the Kittim, saying, and Assyria shall fall by a sword, not of man, and of sword, not of men shall consume him. Isaiah 31:8. For into the hand of the oppressed you will deliver the enemies of all the lands, into the hands of those who are prostrate in the dust, in order to bring down all mighty men of the people, to return to recompense of the wicked on the head of blank, to pronounce the just judgment of your truth on all sons of man, and to make for yourself an everlasting name among the people, blank the wars, and to show yourself great and holy, or set apart before the remit of the nations, so that they may know that you are almighty when you carry out judgment on God and on all his companies that are assembled about us, blank, blank, for you will do battle against them, for the heavens blank, blank upon them for confusion. For you have a multitude of set apart ones in the heavens, and hosts of angels in your exalted dwelling to praise your name, the chosen ones of the set apart people. You have established for yourself in a community the number of the book of the names of all their hosts is with you in your set apart dwelling, and the number of the set apart ones is in the abode of your glory. Mercy of blessings, blank, in your covenant of peace you engrave for them with a stylus of life, in order to reign over them for all time, commissioning the hosts of your elect by their thousands and 10,000s of 10,000s together with your set apart ones and your angels, and directing them in battle so as to condemn the earthly adversaries by trials with your judgment. With the elect of heaven they shall prevail. I'm going to stop right there. That's just some of the parts of the columns of the war scrolls. I mean, we got the columns go all the way to column 14, which will be chapter 14. But you have to read these war scrolls. I mean, it's deep. War scrolls is very deep. And just to let you know, you notice that he says that he's going to possess these people. In Isaiah chapter 61, he tells you, and I'm going to read from 61 to verse 4, starting at verse 4. Then they will rebuild the ancient ruins. They will raise up the former devastations, and they will repair the ruined cities, the desolation of many generations. And strangers will stand and pasture your flocks, and foreigners will be your farmers and your vine-dressers, but you will be called the priests of the Most High. You will be spoken of as ministers of our Elohim. You will eat the wealth of the nations, and in their riches you will boast. So, this is talking about the future. The strangers are the other nations. We go to the book of Amos. Go to the book of Amos. And in the book of Amos, it tells you, Amos chapter 9, and I'm just going over that real quickly, because I was also teaching my Isha about, you know, when a lot of these Israelite camps talk about these other nations and they're going to serve with us inside of the temple and they're going to be this, that, and the other. That's not according to Scripture. That's according to man's word. Book of Amos chapter 9, starting at verse 11. In that day I will raise up the fallen roofs of David and will and wall up its breaches. I will also raise up its ruins and rebuild it as in the day of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the nations who are called by my name, declared the Most High who does this. Behold, days are coming, declared the Most High, when the plowman, meaning the one who's out there working in the field, will overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him who sows seed. So we're going to be restored from our captivity, as it says in verse 14. Also I will restore the captivity of my people, Israel. So we're going to have those people with us. It tells us that in Isaiah chapter, I believe chapter 12 or chapter 14, that the remnant of these people that are left are going to be our servants. He's going to rule over them with an iron rod. There's a lot of things that, you know, they're going to serve him. We're not going to serve the Messiah. We're going to be as priests. But we're not going to serve him. He's going to have servants. And that's going to come from the other remnant. And that's in Isaiah chapter 12. Let's see. Might be 14. And it says, verse 2, and the people will take them along. Let me start at verse 1. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. When the master will have compassion on Jacob and again choose Yermiyah and settle them in their own land, then strangers, which is non-Israelites, will join them and attach themselves to the house of Jacob, and the people will take them along and bring them to their place, and the house of Yermiyah will possess them, mean own them, as an inheritance. As if my father was a wealthy man and he passed on and left land and left cattle or left gold or silver or businesses and corporations, and I inherited, that means I own it. So it says, and the house of Israel will possess them as an inheritance in the land of the master, as male servants and female servants, and they will take their captors captive and will rule over their oppressors. And you have it. So for those who don't believe that, you know, these other nations, yes, they are going in because they have been called and chosen. The book of Amos chapter 9 said, those who are called by my name, that you will possess. Own. Get it right. Read the book of Zechariah. The other nations got to bring all their wealth and turn it over. The Messiah said, I'm going to rule, and the nations are going to serve me. The war scrolls are dealing with the time when we will be outside of these places, or Americas, and the places that we came into slavery, the tribe of Yehuda, which will be going first, and Levi also will be leaving out, and Benjamin. And we will be outside of Jerusalem in places like Ghana, Nigeria, and other places, and we're going to be out there, and that's going to be a wilderness for us. And then we're going to leave from there and going to be outside of Jerusalem in the wilderness. And we're going to be fighting against other nations that's going to try to come up against us while we're out there in the wilderness. We're going to be going to war with them other nations, them other Hamite nations. It's all in the war scrolls. Get your hands on the war scrolls, Akis. Trust and believe. If you got some money, or if you can get it on your phone, study the war scrolls. My spirit is moved inside me right now and it's talking about the war scrolls. Study the war scrolls. Prepare yourself. You know, I'm studying and learning how to fight mixed martial arts. But it's nothing compared to fighting spiritually. You know, I'm out there jogging, I'm out there working out, you know, getting my body in shape. I'm 43 years old. You know, my oldest son is 25. But yet, I'm in shape. Better than I was when I was in my 20s. But yet, still, that means nothing when you're going to war over there outside of this land. Because over there, that spirit over there is much stronger. That spiritual force over there, that's where all this stuff comes from. All the spiritual witness that's over here came from over there. So when we go back with the banner of Israel, blowing the horns and keeping Torah and fulfilling prophecy, it's going to be even stronger spirit on us. That means the spirit over there is already over there. Wickedness is going to be strong. We're going to be going to war, so we got to be spiritually built up. And we got to understand. You know, it's telling us that those who are in their 40s and 50s are still going to be able to fight. It's in the column of, let me see, what column is that? The recruitment and age of the soldiers, column 7. And the men of the army shall be from 40 to 50 years old. The commissioners of the camps shall be from 50 to 60 years old. The officers shall also be from 40 to 45 years old. All those who strip the slain, plunder the spoil, clean the land, guard the arms, and he who prepares the provisions, all these shall be from 25 to 30 years old. No youth, no woman shall enter their encampment from the time they leave Jerusalem to go to battle until their return. No one crippled, blind, or lame, nor a man who has a permanent blemish on his skin, or a man affected with ritual uncleanness of his flesh. None of these shall go with them to battle. All of them shall be volunteers for battle. Pure of spirit and flesh, and prepared for the day of vengeance. Any man who is not ritually clean in respect to his genitals on the day of battle shall not go down with them into battle. For set apart angels are present with their army. There shall be a distance between all their camps and the latrines of about 2,000 cubits, and no shameful nakedness shall be seen in the environs of all their camps, meaning environments of all their camps. The ministry of the priests and Levites, when the battle lines are arrayed against the enemy, battle lines against battle line, there shall go forth from the middle opening into the gap between the battle lines 7 priests of the sons, 7 priests of the sons of Haran, dressed in fine linen garments. So, I mean, I can go on and on how it talks about the garments they're going to be wearing. They're going to be wearing, let's see, it says they're going to be wearing the tunics and linen breeches, and girdled with linen sashes of twine fine linen, velvet, purple, and crimson. I mean, they're going to be arrayed in beautiful attire. So you laugh at them Akis who out there on the corners, you know, in New York and Philadelphia and all them other places, you know, with their garbs on with all different colors. You laughing at them, but they're going to be wearing that over there. But you laughing at them. Now, you got to be ashamed of yourself. Same thing he described here is the same thing you see over there. Same thing. Same thing. So what I'm saying is, you know, the war scrolls tell us that we're going to be fighting out there. The scriptures is telling us, all the scriptures are telling us that we're going to be fighting out there, and these people that will be with us will be our possession. We're going to rule over them. The war scrolls telling us that we're going to leave up out of here, and we're going to be in a wilderness, a wilderness that's, let me go back to, when it talks about the sons of light. Okay, we're going to be in the wilderness that's outside of the wilderness of Jerusalem. It says, verse 3 of column 1, it says, against all their troops, when the exiles of the sons of light return from the wilderness of the peoples to camp in the wilderness of Jerusalem, then after the battle they shall go up from that place. So we're going to be in the wilderness amongst the other nations. Like we were when we came out of Egypt the first time. And when we came out of Egypt the first time, we were in the wilderness, outside of all the other nations. Some of the nations we became confederate with, they became confederate with us. They went under our, they got circumcised and everything. Some of the nations we had to go to war with. So, how can we stay here in Americas and this be fulfilled? If everybody's screaming out, well, we're going to be just like we was, coming out the same we was, when it says that no longer will I say, well, we say that you are the Elohim of the nation, and Elohim of the people who came out of Egypt, or you're going to be the Elohim of the nation, the people who came out of the north country. How is it possible we're going to fulfill that prophecy of having the same thing happen to us as it happened to our ancestors if we do not leave about here? And note, when the shepherd said that I'm going to wave my rod over the flock and weed out the rebels, he did the same thing in the wilderness. He let for 40 years, he let those rebels die off, and a new generation came out with Joshua. So it's going to be the same way. Be able to listen to Yermiyah, YOSHSHAALIA, Benyahrael, and this is real talk. Get the war scrolls. All you Akis that hear this, get the war scrolls. Shabbat Shalom.